Today I will show you how to fit trousers. Of course I have to do it on myself, but I have not tried the trousers on. They're all made. And I want to show you how they fit me without any changes at all, and then we'll discuss some common problems, and I will try to explain to you how to fix them without actually seeing your particular problems. So before I will show you how the trouser fits me, I want to go back to the pattern. This is the pattern that I traced off from the block that we made. I saved the original because I want to show you how the pattern actually looks, because this is maybe a little bit different than what we're used to. You can see that the front looks sort of like any pant pattern would look, but the back has this backwards sort of, instead of having the same angle as the front like this, it leans sideways a little bit and it's significantly higher. I will show you with this is the level of my back. This is the level of my front. Do you see this difference? There's quite a bit of difference in height, because if you remember when we drafted this pattern, we used the number for the crotch extension for the front to move it sideways and up. The reason for this is this particular method gives you enough room in the seat so that your buttocks, when you put the pants on, do not apply pressure on the waist and pull the pants down. And why does it lean sideways? Well, this sideways lean is going to be corrected when the pants are actually worn. They will be brought back in a straight manner like this to the center back, and this angle that's going to move this way is going to give a very nice fit under the buttocks, where sometimes ladies' pants have a crease. These ones should not have a crease like that. Another thing I wanted to show you in this is how to make sure that what you have drafted will actually fit your figure. If you remember, I took a measurement of a crotch length. This is the measurement where I took a tape measure, put it to my, can't remember, center front or center back at the waist. I passed the tape measure between my legs, and I ended up on the other side of the waist. So I think I have 26 inches. I can't remember anymore, but I think it was 26. And now I'm going to measure from center front to center back in total. And when I taped this pattern to the table, I actually connected the crotch points. I overlapped the seam allowances, and the actual crotch points are touching. So this will give me a true measurement in the pant pattern. I'm going to start measuring with my tape measure. I'm not at the top of the seam allowance, but at the sewing line. And so I'm just going to pass the tape measure around and see what I have, just to make sure that I did everything correctly. And I have 26¼ inches. So this is very close to my measurement. A quarter inch is completely insignificant. So I want to show you one more thing before I try the pants on. I want to show you how this height difference in the center back versus center front, and this sideways angle, how it actually looks in the pants that are sewn. This is my muslin. I have sewn it. I have not really pressed it properly yet, and I put one leg inside the other leg to show you the crotch seam. So this is where I put my zipper in. I haven't trimmed any threads yet, and this is what the crotch curve looks like. This is the front with the zipper. Okay, I hope you can see that. This is, let me move them this way. This is the front. Okay, do you see it looks fairly flat? And then, of course, if we stretch it, the back looks a lot taller than the back. Okay, the back, I think you can see now. The back, of course, looks a lot taller than the front. But if you bring them to the same level like this, do you see what the back, so this is the back. This is the curve. If you bring the front and the back, see at the waistband, like that, I think you can see now, they actually created, the back crotch curve created a space for the buttocks to go. Okay, that's how it looks when you actually construct the pant. So now I'm going to go and hem my pants, and I will press them and I will try them on, and we'll chat about my particular challenges of the trouser. So here I am wearing my new pants. I'm sorry you can't see my face, but it's either that or you don't see my pants. So I picked a place in my home where you can see two things. I want you to see the foundation, how it fits me. So foundation is from waist to the crotch line. And then the rest is legs. And legs have more to do with fashion and style, and foundation has to do with the type of pant it is. If you remember, this is a trouser. So that means that we have somewhat long crotch extension in the front and the back, and the pants do not touch my body at the crotch point. So if this is my body, this is my body, the pants are sitting 3/4 of an inch below. So when you allow your pants to settle comfortably on your body, make sure that you don't yank them up high so that they fit right at your body. They need to sit below. So what I see right away is that they're really big. So I'm going to step closer so you can see the foundation better. Do you see? I have a lot of room in the waist. However, the pants sit, this is the seam line where I attach the little waistband. The pants actually sit right at my anatomical waist. And I will turn. You will see this is actually my waist. And I dropped it slightly. I think we dropped it by maybe 1/2 inch in the front. And this is also very comfortable. So I always fit pants from the waist down. I'm going to start pinning. So here I'm going to turn this way so I can see myself in the mirror, and I can see I need to pin out about 3/4 of an inch. It's really hard to pin on yourself. Okay, I can't pin, I can't reach. So I'm just going to use a marker, and while I'm holding the side like this, I'm going to mark the place where I'm holding. Do you see that? I put a mark right there. This is where the pin would go, except that I can't reach. So I will do the same on the other side. And as I'm holding this, I can see that I can keep going. I'll step back a little bit. I can keep going to about where my hip is the widest, which is 2 inches for me, 2 inches below the waist. And so I can keep going, step back, all the way down. I think I want this 3/4 of an inch taken from front and back side seam all the way down. But when I do this, look what's happening. So this is where I was thinking of going from here and then all the way down. But what I see from the end of my dart, which is 3.5 inches in the front, I have excess fabric here. And I don't really want that. I would never wear a pant that had excess folds here. So it's clear to me that I cannot just take my fullness from the sides. I can from the beginning to about here, so 3.5 inches. This is the level of my dart. But I will step back. If I continue to over tighten, I don't know if you can see, but do you see the crease line starts going off grain? Remember, don't try your pants on until you've pressed the very sharp crease line and sewn on your waistband, because our crease line is actually a grain line as well. So if I want to remove all the fullness to the center of the grain line and to the outside, to the side seams of the grain line, I have to do it from both sides. So I discovered this trick, which I use all the time, where I may not be able to reach my side seam, but I can reach the crease line. And starting at the end of my dart, it's right here, I'm going to start pinning. Do you see? I'm pinning right here. I'm pinning 3/4 of an inch into my crease line. I am not going to sew this. I'm not even going to fold this on my pattern. And if I could reach, I would do it all the way down. Do you see? As soon as I start pinning, this side has this excess where I haven't pinned, but this side is starting to look much better and much smoother. Okay, so what this will give me, and I will pin this all the way down, I will take the trousers off, put them on my pattern making table, and I will measure how much did I pin. And half of this will be taken out of the side seam, and the other half will be taken out of the crotch seam and the inner seam. Do you see that? So this is a quick and efficient way of me deciding how much I want to pin out. And I will step back, and so that in the mirror you see my back. You see everything is okay, but again, it's huge, and I can see that my dart is too long for my body. Do you see? Because it's so long, it gave me this weird little... See, I actually have no body there. It's just fabric pushing out. So I need to get rid of the length. I'm going to say my dart has to end here. Do you see? There. My dart will end there, and that will smooth this weird little poochy corner on my behind. And so I'm going to do the same, but of course I can't reach to pin at the back. So what I'm doing is I'm holding what I'm going to take out from here to here. And I'm going to take out the same. I'm going to take out 3/4 of an inch, pin it all the way down, and then on my pattern making table, I will take off 3/4, so 3/4 on this side and 3/4 from the inseam and the center back. Okay. Other than that, I don't know if you can see me. The length is perfect. You can't see it, but I'm going to try and stand so you can see the back. The pant is actually hemmed up and pressed, and the hem just at the back touches the floor. Of course, in the front it's going to break. The front breaks because the front, my feet stop it from touching the floor. But in the back, I'll turn this way. I don't know if you can, well, there you go. In the back, you see, it just sits perfectly fine. And when I take out all this fullness from here and from the inseam, it's going to be a very nice fitting trouser. Now I want to show you what I started doing to prepare the muslin for markings and my pattern for alterations. I have taken out the zipper from the center front, and I have taken out the waistband, and I drew a line at the end of my darts in the front to tell me that above that I need to take out 3/4 of an inch on the side seam on the front and on the back. This is all rough without any rulers. I'm going to use the ruler on the pattern in a few minutes. And then I started pinning. You can see that I have started pinning 3/4 of an inch on each side of my grain line. This is the grain line. I'm going to mark it with just like that, lightly with a pen. Like this. You see, this is my grain line, which matches the crease line, and I started pinning it, and I need to take 3/4 of an inch from the front crease line all the way down to the bottom, but I don't want to take it all the way up to the top, because here I'm going to take care of it by this. So another thing I noticed is that I do not want to touch the center front seam or the crotch seam, because it fits me really well, and if you start interfering with this, you start interfering with the positioning of the waist dart, and we don't want to do that. So I think this line is too low. What I'm going to do, I'm going to the end of my zipper. This marks the end of my zipper, and this is my new line, where this is my new line. I'm going to draw it across without a ruler again. This is a rough estimation where it's going to end up, and from here up, from this new line up, I'm only going to work with the side seams on front and back. You see that? I've extended this, and I'm going to do the same on the back. And starting from here down, so this is at the end of my zipper, starting from here down, we are very close to the crotch point. This is the crotch point, and so from here, I'm going to take 3/4 of an inch out of the inseam, do you see, front and back, and 3/4 of an inch will continue being taken out of the side seam, front and back. Okay, and this will give me that kind of a narrowing at the front. So what to do at the back? At the back, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Here's the marking to remind me to shorten my dart. So let's measure the dart. This dart has to be, it has to be also 3.5 inches. So my dart at the back is the same as my dart at the front. So I will go to the pattern and shorten my dart. But I'm going to do exactly the same. This is my new line. Okay, so above this line on the back, I'm only going to take out 3/4 of an inch on the side seam at the back. And below this line, I will continue taking out 3/4 of an inch, the same measurement. But I will also start taking out, I will find my crotch point on the back. Let me just move the pants so you can see better. This is the crotch point on my back right here. And here I'm also going to take out, start right at the top at the crotch line. I'm going to take out 3/4 of an inch from the inseam. Okay, so this is going to be a combined alteration that will give me the measurements I want. So now I'm going to get a different color marker and show you how I will mark this on the pattern. So here I am, I'm ready to work on my pattern. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a guideline for where I need to start taking things out only at the side, and where I need to start taking things in from the outer seam and the inseam. So that line was about at the end of the zipper. My zipper was, I think, 7 inches. So I am going to measure 7 inches. This is 7 inches. So basically I am almost at my crotch line. Okay, so I am not going to touch the crotch curve at all. Since this is so close to my crotch line, I'm just going to redraw my crotch line and make that my separating line between what needs to be done only at the outer seam and at the outer seam and the inseam at the same time. So I will take detailed photos later. If you can't see, don't worry. There will be detailed photos at the end of the video lesson. So now I know that above this green line on front and back, I'm only going to work on the side seam, and below this line, I'm going to work on the side seam and the inseam. So I also need to shorten my back dart. So I will go and do that. So my back dart has to be 3.5 inches. Right here. Okay, so the width of the dart is the same. The only thing that changed is the length of the dart. So this is now different. And I will go to the side seams on front and back, the out seams, and I'm going to start marking 3/4 of an inch in. First with a ruler, and I will go around the camera and go to the front, and I'm going to do the same thing on the front. It's going to be 3/4 of an inch in, all the way down to the green line, which is actually the crotch line, as it turns out for me. Okay, and actually, because I know that this line has to continue all the way down to the end of the pant, I am going to mark this all the way down. And of course I can't because the pattern is hanging off the table, but I will make sure that I will take care of this before I cut out the muslin. Okay, so here is my line, and for the other line, I'm going to take French curve. Okay, there's my French curve, and I'm going to start connecting the green markings. Okay, so this line will go all the way to the bottom of the pant. Okay, and this line also will go all the way down to the bottom of the pant. So now I'm going to start marking this on the inseam as well. And exactly the same method. I will go to the crotch point here. I can lift up the front, the back a little bit to so that I can see the front. Okay, so I'm marking 3 right from the crotch point at the front. So will that shorten the crotch point? Yes, it will. So I'm actually going to start marking 2 inches below it. Because the crotch point fit me so nicely, I don't want to take anything, I don't want to do anything to the pattern that will damage it. And here, I'm also going to start marking about 2 inches below the crotch line, here at the crotch point, and mark 3/4 of an inch in. And this will also go down on front and back inseam all the way to the bottom of the pant. Okay, so I'm going to use the French curve now, and I will get a much slimmer inseam and a much slimmer fitting pant. So I'm not touching the original, not disturbing the original crotch point. I'm just making this line a little bit more curvy. And again, you will take these lines all the way to the bottom of your pant. Now, what else did I have to do? I think this was it. So front and back, I'm going to trace another version of this pattern. And then I'm going to remake the pants. I'm reusing the same pants, so you will see my marking lines. Hopefully they will look a lot better. So why am I doing it this way? Let's, I think I showed you a little bit on the pant, but I want to show you in pattern. Maybe it's a little bit better and more and easier for you to see. We have grain lines, which are crease lines. And what I need to remove from this leg to make it fit me better is 3/4 of an inch times 2, so that means 1.5 inches. If I take all of this out of the side seam, it's going to sway my grain line sideways and pull my pants off grain. So because I need to slim the inseam and the side seam, I'm taking some out of the inseam and some out of the side seam. So I'm now back at a different mirror because I want you to see me head to toe. I have altered the pants. These are the original pants. You can see all the lines that I made before, so I'm going to turn sideways. You can see that the excess lines that were here are now gone, and I had to do an additional alteration to get rid of those. I followed my pattern, so I took off 3/4 of an inch from the top all the way to the bottom, and at the crotch line right here, I started taking the same 3/4 of an inch that was a continuation of this line from the waistline, and then I took the same in my inseam. I'm going to turn sideways, and this is a shot sideways. You can see that that weird little bump that was sticking out behind my buttock is gone. I have shortened my waist, and I will now switch to a different mode and try to give you a back view. So here's a back view. You can see that this area now fits really well. I don't have the problem that I often have in pants when I try to purchase, where they're radiating lines all the way under my buttocks. I still have these, which kind of, these, the crease lines are breaking, and I will go to my pattern and explain to you why they're breaking, but I just wanted to give you a back view. It fits a lot better now. So why do I still get, particularly at the back, the break lines? These are not pants to be worn yet. Dress pants usually have what's called steam and heat treatment. It's done with a very hot iron with a lot of steam. It's best used on wool or natural fabrics, but I tried to do a little bit with muslin, which is 100% cotton, and I did a little bit and it was looking better. But if you do not give this treatment to the pants, these lines that you saw here, although they're not displeasing, but they will always break. So this line, usually the way we iron it is we shrink it a little bit so it develops an inward curve, and we do other things as well, but this is not a part of this course. So you can see this is a successful alteration of the pants. So I'm going to adjust this leg because the shoe breaks it in the wrong spot. So you can see my crease lines are going in alignment. So I made some additional alterations, which I will show you now, and you will see them on the pattern. But the crease line is still up and down. The crease line at the back is up and down. It did not twist. And the side seam runs perpendicular to the floor. So let's talk about an additional alteration that I had to make the pants fit a little bit better. The most interesting one is in the center front. I did not touch center back. I'm going to try and bring the camera a little bit closer so you can see this better. So what I found in center front is I still had excess fabric between the crease line towards the center front, and making alterations here and here did not get rid of it. So what I did is that I actually took a ruler and I shaved off 1/2 inch. You see, like this. I'm using a pink marker, so when I take detailed photos, you will be able to see. So I took 1/2 inch off the center front, and when I looked at the pants, my dart did not look like it was too close. So the dart for me, dart placement is 3.5 inches, so now it's 3 inches. But on these pants, it appears to look okay. So I'm going to leave it this way. So what I did is I started following my line, 1/2 inch off, and then when I came to the crotch point right here, I came to 0. I came to the original crotch point. Because remember, the crotch point of the front works with the crotch point of the back. And so I actually, what I did is I lost some of my seam allowance in center front, and I did not put another zipper in. I just pinned the center front, but it appears to fit really smoothly, and it's a nice shape. So this is the most interesting alteration. Another alteration, I'm going to move the camera again. I did on the front and the back. I'm going to maybe position it this way. So what I found is that around this area where the hip continues to get curvier, I still had too much fabric. So what I did is I started here, okay? This is E, which is my hip line. And from my hip line on the pattern, so this is line E, I started shaving off a little bit like this. And when I came down to knee level, it came to nothing. So I can't show you knee level because it hangs off the table, but you understand what I did. I basically narrowed the pant only in the out seam, because the inseam, that original green line that I did for the alteration, it fits me really nicely. But this, I still have this big emptiness here because my hips are widest at this point. So I'm gonna say my hips stop widening on my body right here. And so I can see this line, according to the pattern, continues to widen a little bit, and I needed to become slimmer. So I slimmed down the side seam to fit me a little bit better. And so let's conclude by talking about the success points of a fitting. I cannot possibly imagine what fittings you would require, what points you would want me to discuss. The most frequent alteration on pants is, of course, the width of the pant. So the width of the pant, you saw me correct on the out seam and on the inseam. I'm going to move the camera back so you can see the front and the back like this. So I did the most common alteration where the front and the back are narrowed. Sometimes you only need to correct the side seam. I don't think you can see me. There, I'll move it again. Sometimes you only correct the side seam. Sometimes you need to correct the side seam, the out seam, and the inseam on front and back. Sometimes if you have a particularly curvy seat, you may need to add a little bit of room at the top, or we need to do an alteration. If you remember, we did this on skirts, where you go to the widest part of your buttock and you slash and either you spread to include a wedge, or you overlap to get rid of a wedge. That can be done on pants as well, the same way as you do it on the skirt. Sometimes, I've only seen it twice, but some women have legs that are shaped like this. I'm going to show you with my hands. Some women legs have, I think it's called bow-legged, like this. We call it an O. So the knees, if these are my knees, they're not touching. So this is a straight leg. So for some women, the knees are like this. So, or for other women, the knees are like this. Do you see? We call this an X. So this is an O shape for the leg, and this is an X shape for the leg. So if you have something like this, what I recommend for you is to construct your muslin. And how you would know that you have this, your grain line between the foundation line, the crotch line, and the knee and the bottom will start to twist. It's not going to hang straight like mine does. It will start to sort of wiggle and not look right. So what I usually do when I fit pants on people is try to see, just use your judgment. Is it the out seam, the side seam, or the inseam that's giving you trouble? And whatever seam gives you trouble, just open it all the way from the bottom of the pant up to the area that's starting to cause problems. And wear the pants with an open seam and see how the pants settle on your leg. Then you can understand what do you need to add or subtract from a particular part of a pattern. I will try to answer other questions via email. I already got some, so I hope you found this useful. And next week, I'm going to take this pattern and I'm going to turn it into first a slack, which is a slightly tighter fitting dress pant, and then we're going to discuss a jean.